She lifts her up and slams!
This cutie is known as the most beautiful female fighter in the world. But very soon, she might also be called a UFC champion.
A knockout!
Tracy Cortez became a fighter in honor of her late brother. She made his dream of becoming a UFC fighter come true.
Finishes her.
Tracy, come on over here, you're in.
And now, despite all the hardships she's faced, she's closer than ever to achieving championship gold. But where did this Mexican beauty come from? Let's start from the very beginning. Tracy "Hard R" Cortez was born on December 10th, 1993. She is of Mexican descent and grew up in Phoenix, Arizona, in a household of Mexican immigrants. Tracy Cortez described her childhood as beautiful.
Growing up, I had a beautiful childhood.
In spite of her parents' demanding jobs, her mom, an immigrant who became a citizen, worked for the city of Phoenix from 5 to 5, while her dad, a truck driver, was rarely home. When he was around, he was loving but strict, believing that as a girl, Tracy should stay home, no sports, clean the house. Regardless of these traditional views, Tracy had a strong desire to join her brothers in wrestling. Raised with 3 brothers, she became a tomboy and wanted to do everything they did. She recalls, "My brothers would be at wrestling practice, and I was like, hey, can I join?" However, she faced initial resistance from her brothers and societal norms, with her brothers telling her, "You're a girl, you shouldn't be here." Tracy Cortez shared a special bond with her brother Jose, whom she described as the leader of all of us. Jose was the tree trunk of the family, holding everyone together. When Jose began experiencing severe health issues, the family was deeply concerned. When they got to know it was cancer, his diagnosis was a devastating blow, especially since Tracy was really young, just not even a teenager at the time. As Jose's condition worsened, the family braced for the worst. The aftermath of Jose's passing was devastating.
Niño precioso, más que la niño, risueño niño, Dios del amor.
The family felt like they all just fell apart. The emotional fallout hit hard, and Tracy found herself coping in unhealthy ways. She started hanging around with the wrong crowd and remembers ditching school and abusing drugs, seeking comfort in partying and drinking. Reflecting on that dark time, Tracy admits, "With the things that I was doing, I could have died 110%. Tracy Cortez's rebellious behavior, including drug abuse and partying, led to her being kicked out by her father and disowned by her family. A moment she describes as, "My dad kicked me out right before I turned 17. My entire family disowned me." Against the family turmoil, her mother remained a constant source of support. Tracy shares, "My mom was the only one that stayed in touch. There wasn't a day that I didn't hear from her." Her mom's emotional support and encouragement played a crucial role in her life. Tracy remembers her mother saying, "Jose was fighting for his life, and you're killing your life." This powerful statement marked a turning point for Tracy, pushing her to change her path and start turning her life around. This realization pushed her to take wrestling seriously. Cortez got a tattoo in remembrance of her brother on her arm. She struggled through depression after her brother's passing, but managed to get back on track with the help of her family and Henry Cejudo and Angel Cejudo, who are the best friends of her oldest brother Jose. Motivated by her brother's memory and his unfulfilled dream, Tracy dedicated herself to training in MMA. She started her journey in local gyms, learning different martial arts disciplines and honing her skills. Her initial interest in sports quickly evolved into a full-fledged commitment to MMA. Her amateur career began in 2013, and over the years, she accumulated several impressive victories. Each fight served as a learning experience, allowing her to refine her skills and build confidence in the ring. Unfortunately, there are no recordings of her very first amateur fights anywhere. But we tried and found her 5th amateur fight, perhaps the most spectacular fight in her amateur career. Fight against Roxanne CCR at KOTC. Onslaught happened in April 11th, 2015. Tracy Cortez steps into the ring, light on her feet, hands up, ready to go. Her movement is smooth and confident. Roxanne comes forward but looks hesitant, just pawing with her jab. Then, bam! Tracy fires off a solid body kick, setting the tone right from the start. This fight just got real. Cortez's overhand right is something to watch. She lands it perfectly, dropping Roxanne to the ground.
Cortez's overhand right just drops Roxanne and bashing away.
Tracy follows up with a barrage of punches, and the referee steps in to stop the fight. Just like that, it's over. Let's break down that finishing sequence. Cortez fakes a low kick, then comes in with a straight right, hitting Caesar right on the chin. An impeccable finish. It seemed that Tracy's life was getting better. She was brutally knocking out opponents and aiming to start her professional career. However, it was at this moment that her mother fell ill. Her mom started experiencing severe health issues, leading to frequent hospital visits. Tracy recalls the heart-wrenching period of her mom's decline and diagnosis. They pretty much told me there's no chance for her. On August 28, 2015, her mother's heart stopped, marking a tragic moment in Tracy's life. To honor her brother and mother, Tracy Cortez got tattoo tributes, saying, "Just seeing them whenever I want is a reminder that I already went through the worst part of my life." Their memory became a driving force in her journey, pushing her to persevere despite the hardships. Tracy returned to training with renewed determination. Cortez had her last amateur fight against Amanda Jones at Tough Enough, round 7. Operation Knockout happened in November 19th, 2016. The fight begins with Cortez sprinting out of her corner, immediately initiating the offensive and looking for a single-leg takedown. She successfully takes Jones down, applying pressure and controlling the position. Cortez maintains top control, smothering Jones and attempting submissions while continuing ground control and skillfully avoiding submission attempts from Jones. The round ends with Cortez firmly in control. The round starts with Cortez countering Jones's moves. Cortez quickly applies the headlock and takes Jones down again. She maintains top pressure, trying to pass guard, using forearm pressure to continue dominating on the ground.
Full position there for Tracy Cortez.
Cortez keeps top control, preventing Jones from escaping or attacking. The round ends with Cortez in a dominant position. The final round starts with Cortez applying pressure. She executes another takedown, maintaining control. Cortez attempts submissions while keeping top pressure and works towards an arm triangle, continuing her ground control. The round ends with Cortez still in control.
Big right hands to the ribcage, and there is the bell.
The fight ends, and it goes to the judges' scorecards. The decision is unanimous.
Your winner by unanimous decision and new Operation Knockout Women's Flyweight Champion, the blue corner, Tracy Cortez.
Cortez wins. Tracy Cortez is interviewed post-fight, celebrating her victory and new title, expressing her gratitude and excitement for achieving this milestone. These achievements not only boosted her confidence, but also set the stage for her transition to professional fighting. Her first professional fight was against Sherry Maraski at Invicta FC 25, Kunitskaya versus Pa'aluhi in August 31, 2017. As the opening bell rang, Tracy Cortez showcased her tactical acumen immediately. She adeptly measured her distance, using feints to gauge Sherry Maraski's reactions and establish her control early on. Maraski, on the other hand, tried to close the distance with her punches, but Tracy's footwork and movement were already setting the pace. Tracy, known for her pressure fighting style, looked to dictate the clinch. Despite the inherent risks of engaging in close quarters against an opponent with a strong ground game, Tracy delivered a significant knee, showcasing her aggressive strategy. In the clinch, Tracy aimed for a takedown, But it was her knees during these exchanges that started to show their effect. Moraski's nose began to bleed, indicating the damage inflicted. Tracy's relentless pressure was evident as she continued to push the pace, despite Moraski drawing her into a more intense and slower-paced battle. Tracy's combination work fueled her momentum. Even when her leg was seized, she managed to fight free and went for a double leg takedown against the jiu-jitsu practitioner. This bold move aimed to maximize her advantage in the final minute of the round, showcasing her versatility and determination. Tracy continued to apply pressure with a series of overhand kicks and targeted knees to the liver. While these strikes didn't put Moraski down, they visibly affected her. Tracy's strategy included low kicks and strong exchanges, continuously pushing Moraski back, though Moraski showed resilience by pressing forward whenever she could. In a critical moment, Tracy made a costly mistake. Moraski capitalized on it with a perfectly executed guillotine. She positioned her head correctly, initiated the sweep, and transitioned smoothly to finish the submission. Tracy's error in head positioning allowed Moraski to exploit the opening and secure the win. It was the worst start to a professional career, especially considering her undefeated amateur career. However, what Cortez went through in her life had toughened her, and even such a terrible start in her career didn't break her. Of course, Tracy immediately returned to the gym, and later that same year, stepped back into the octagon. Waiting for her was an opponent she had already defeated by knockout in the amateurs. Unfortunately, there is no footage of this fight, but Tracy once again defeated Roxanne CCR, but this time by decision, which was her first victory in professional MMA. It was this victory that Tracy needed to fill her with confidence for the future. Fight against Caitlin Neal at Invicta FC 28, Mizuki versus Jandiroba, was at March 24, 2018. From the start, Tracy showcased her strategic approach. She controlled the pace with precise jabs and maintained excellent footwork, keeping Caitlin at bay. Tracy's sharp movements and calculated strikes kept the audience on the edge of their seats, immediately establishing her dominance in the octagon. In the first round, Tracy secured a dominant takedown, demonstrating her grappling prowess. She maintained top control and landed several effective strikes, showcasing her versatility. This moment was significant, as it scored points, but also sent a clear message to Caitlin about Tracy's ground game superiority. Tracy continued to dominate on the ground, effectively neutralizing Caitlin's attempts to escape. Her control and ground and pound were crucial in maintaining her advantage. Tracy's ability to transition smoothly between positions while delivering punishing blows highlighted her advanced grappling skills and relentless determination. As the fight entered its final stages, Tracy's endurance and skill became even more apparent. Another successful takedown and a series of strikes ensured her dominance. Tracy's ability to maintain high energy levels and execute her game plan flawlessly was impressive, leaving no doubt about her control of the fight. After 3 rounds of intense action, the judge's decision was unanimous.
Unanimous decision, Tracy Cortez.
She managed to finish the next fight, despite the fact that Dana White was in the arena in the fight with Monica Medina. There are no videos of that fight online. Her next fight was against Karen Cedillo at Combat Americas. Alday versus Lopez on September 14th, 2018. The bell rings, and Tracy Cortez wastes no time. Charging to the center of the ring, she puts Karen on the defensive. Tracy landed an overhand punch, then managed to secure a body lock, which helped her execute a takedown. As you can imagine, Cortez feels at home on the ground. From any position, she skillfully delivers ground and pound and never loses her composure. For half of the first round, she dominated her opponent on the ground. preventing her from returning to a standing position.
Esta chica de Monterrey ha resultado más fuerte, me parece, de lo que esperaba Tracy Cortez, por lo tanto no ha podido llevarla directamente al tema de la sumisión.
Her opponent was so exhausted from Tracy's strikes that she forgot about the possibility of a choke. At that moment, Cortez locked in a rear naked choke. However, credit must be given to her opponent for escaping the submission. Nevertheless, it doesn't change the fact that she was defenseless on the ground throughout the entire round. From the very beginning of the second round, Tracy executes a powerful double-leg takedown. She quickly transitions to different positions to secure her opponent's neck.
Puede defender, es una muchacha que ya prácticamente olvidó su plan de pelea. Está tratando de sobrevivir de nuevo.
Cortez gets carried away with ground and pound, losing control and allowing Karen to get back to her feet, where she faces powerful knees from the clinch. Then Tracy executes another takedown. Tracy traps her opponent in a position from which escape is impossible. She delivers strikes from all angles, prompting the referee to stop the fight. Thus, Cortez won by knockout in the second round, extending her streak of finish victories. Her next opponent was Erin Blanchfield, but there isn't much to say about that fight. The girls were evenly matched in striking. But Cortez was a couple of levels above in wrestling, which allowed her to dominate her opponent for 3 rounds. However, the interesting part of this fight is something else. It was the first time we saw the first ever ring man instead of ring girls, who usually adorn the stare downs and carry round number cards. This time, the role was taken on by former UFC fighter Elias Theodorou. According to the girls, he did an excellent job. However, let's get back to the fight that became a turning point in Tracy Cortez's career. This performance convinced the UFC management to give her a chance to join the UFC. Dana White's Contender Series is a platform where promising fighters can showcase their talents in front of the UFC president Dana White and a broader audience. It's a high-stakes environment where a single impressive performance can earn a fighter a coveted UFC contract. Tracy Cortez seized this opportunity with both hands. In July 2019, Cortez stepped into Dana White's Contender Series octagon to face Maria Agapova. The fight was a witness to Cortez's skill, strategy, and heart. From the opening bell, Cortez displayed a relentless pace, utilizing her wrestling background to control the fight. Her striking was sharp, and her grappling was dominant. Throughout the bout, Cortez showcased her well-rounded skill set, blending striking and takedowns to keep Agapova off balance. After her victory on Dana White's Contender Series, Tracy began her career in the world's premier promotion, the UFC. Her debut was on November 16, 2019, against Vanessa Mello. In her UFC debut, Tracy immediately established herself as a wrestling-first fighter. From the opening seconds, she controlled the distance with sharp punches and body kicks, but her clearest advantage came in the clinch and on the ground. She repeatedly drove Mello to the fence, secured takedowns, and controlled top position with heavy pressure and short elbows. Even in striking exchanges, she used combinations mainly to close the distance and initiate grappling. It was a clean sweep, dominant control, relentless pressure, and a well-deserved unanimous decision victory. October 10, 2020, versus Stephanie Egger. This fight was a showcase of Cortez's grappling IQ. Despite Egger having a judo background, Cortez completely neutralized her. She dictated where the fight went, dominated in the clinch, and scored takedowns when needed. Egger never found momentum because Cortez constantly disrupted her rhythm with chain wrestling and positional control. It was one of Tracy's most technically sound performances, earning another clear-cut, unanimous decision. April 17, 2021, versus Justine Kish. In a closely contested bout, Cortez's wrestling once again proved to be the difference. While striking exchanges were relatively even, Tracy used clinch work and control against the cage to slow Kish down and control the tempo. When the fight got chaotic, Tracy leaned on her grappling fundamentals to reset and score points. The judges were split, but Cortez's control and consistent pressure gave her the edge and another win. May 7, 2022 versus Melissa Gatto. Facing a dangerous and rising opponent in Gatto, Cortez delivered a composed tactical performance. She nullified Gatto's striking by closing the distance, initiating clinches and scoring takedowns. On the ground, Tracy maintained top control and wore her opponent down with calculated pressure. Gatto couldn't create any space to strike or scramble, and Tracy never allowed her to find a rhythm. Another dominant display of positional grappling and a unanimous decision win. September 16, 2023 versus Jasmine Jasudavicius. This fight blended gritty striking with classic Cortez control, while Jasmine tried to push the pace in the stand-up. Tracy stayed calm, countered well, and repeatedly shut down takedown attempts. When the fight entered clinch range, Cortez was in her element. Pinning Jasmine to the fence, landing knees, and grinding her down. Despite the heat, Cortez maintained composure, outlanded her opponent, and once again used wrestling to control key moments. Another unanimous decision win. July 13, 2024. Versus Rose Namajunas. Tracy took this fight on short notice after the original main event fell through. The short turnaround led to a difficult weight cut, so much so that Cortez famously cut her hair live at the weigh-ins to make the flyweight limit. Her opponent, Rose Namajunas, is a two-time UFC strawweight champion and one of the most technical strikers in the division's history. From the start, Rose's striking precision and range control gave her the upper hand. Tracy tried to close the distance and wrestle, but Rose was sharp with jabs, kicks, and angles. When Tracy did manage to clinch or shoot, Rose defended well and returned to space. Despite Tracy's efforts to impose her usual grappling-heavy game plan, the lack of preparation time and the weight cut clearly took a toll. She fought with heart and went the distance, but ultimately lost by unanimous decision. This was Tracy's first loss since her debut fight, but considering the circumstances under which she was defeated, there's no doubt she'll bounce back to the top of MMA soon. After a short-notice loss, Tracy took a year off and returned to the cage not just to win, but to make a statement. On June 28, 2025 at UFC 317 against Vivian Araujo, Cortez confidently showcased everything she'd learned over the past year. She looked sharp on the feet, used her jab and body shots effectively, and in the third round took the fight to the ground, where she controlled her opponent until the final bell. It was a true domination. The judges awarded her a unanimous decision victory.
Cortez won every round of the fight and proved to the world that she has what it takes to capture the UFC title. What do you think? Can Tracy Cortez become a UFC champion?